Hey, I'm Chris from Learn MoGraph, and welcome to the first video of our Basics of After Effects series. This series will walk you through how to set up After Effects, the basics of animating, and some workflow tips and tricks to keep you organized and efficient. This first video covers the user interface of After Effects and setting up your very first composition. For the purposes of this video, I'll be working on a Mac, but the appearance and location of everything we're about to cover is the exact same on Windows. When we first launch After Effects, we're greeted with this splash screen that cycles through loading all of the plugins and panels used by the application. If you're ever experiencing issues with After Effects not launching or crashing during the splash screen, make note of the plugins and effects that are scrolling in the bottom left, and often the plugin that is causing the issue is the last one you'll see before you run into the issue of it crashing. Usually a restart or reinstall of that plugin will fix it. Now that After Effects is loaded up, we're greeted with the home screen. This typically contains a list of your most recent projects and some tips and tricks to get you started. Now that we've closed out of the home screen, we get to see the main After Effects user interface. For the purposes of this video, we'll be using the default workspace and looking at three main areas of the application: the project panel, the timeline, and your composition window. Everything else you see is a tool or feature that controls something in these three main panels. First up, the project panel. This is where all of the assets that are being used in your project are stored. You can add folders or bins to help you stay organized, and even add different label colors so you can find the asset you're looking for immediately. After Effects supports a wide range of different assets, from stills, video clips, 3D models, image sequences, and you can even import projects directly from Photoshop, Illustrator, Cinema 4D, or Character Animator in Premiere Pro through Dynamic Link. This is also where the compositions and layers you create within After Effects will be stored, such as pre-comps, nulls, and solid layers. Next up is our timeline panel. Much like a nonlinear editor, this is where you can arrange your assets and layers in time. Unlike other nonlinear editors, this is where you can add keyframes, set blending modes, apply mattes, write expressions, link layers through parenting, and manipulate your animation graphs. The last key area of the After Effects user interface is the composition window. This is where you visually place your elements within the scene. It has some features you've come to expect from other Adobe applications, such as zoom levels and toggling transparency grade, guides, and bounding boxes. It also has a few quality of life features specific to After Effects, such as the region of interest, which lets you focus on specific areas of your composition while ignoring other parts. This is particularly handy in render-intensive compositions. Exposure adjustments, which let you globally change the brightness of your scene. And snapshots, which let you do a before and after of what you're working on so you can quickly compare versions as you make adjustments. Now that we're acquainted with the main user interface of After Effects, let's look at how to start a new project. To create your first After Effects composition, click the button in the bottom right of the project panel. This opens up the composition settings window. This is where we're going to set the parameters of our first project. Let's take a look at the basic settings. Here, you can either choose a preset for your aspect ratio or set it manually. You can also adjust the frame rate, timecode, and background color. Now we can take a look at the advanced settings for this composition. These settings take effect when adding motion blur or nesting this composition into another. For motion blur, the higher the shutter angle, the more blur you will get. For your cinematic motion blur, you'll want these settings to be 180 degrees for the shutter angle and -90 for the shutter phase. Here you can also choose between Classic 3D and the Cinema 4D renderer. The main difference between the two is that Cinema 4D allows for extruding text and shape layers right within After Effects, although it disables many of the basic features such as track mattes, blending modes, motion blur, and depth of field. I typically leave this on Classic 3D unless I have a specific need to extrude something within After Effects. Wrapping up our After Effects overview video, we'll cover the last parts of the UI that I haven't talked about yet. At the top of this application sits the toolbar. This has all of the tools you'll need to get everything done in After Effects. These include Selection Tool, Hand, Zoom, Orbit, Pan, and Zoom, which are your camera tools, Rotate, Pan Behind, Shape Tools, Pen Tool, Text, Brush, Clone Stamp, Eraser, Roto Brush, and Puppet Pin. Depending on what you're creating, other options will appear here as well, such as Mask and Shape Layer Toggle, Stroke and Fill, and Shape Layer options, and you can toggle snapping on and off. On the right side, you have several collapsed panels. A few of these panels contain all the text options you may be familiar with from other Adobe applications. I find it easier to pull these out and dock them somewhere for quick access. Simply click and drag it and you'll see a purple highlight showing you areas where you can place it. You can place several on top of each other to keep them better organized, such as your character and paragraph panels. Lastly, we have our Effects and Presets panel. This contains all of the effects, utilities, presets, and third-party plugins. There's a lot to review in here, and we're going to have an entire video coming up that takes a deeper dive into what you'll find here. As you can see, there's so much depth to what you can do within After Effects. This should get you started in the absolute basics you'll need to get through the rest of this series as we begin to animate in our very next video. If you've learned something from this video or want to stay tuned to what we have coming up, make sure you subscribe down below.